Nintendo Switch 2 has an issue. It's the same issue the original Switch had. The controllers are uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to hold and play handheld. Everybody knows this. I understand the reasoning for this, so that each Joy-Con can be used as a single controller, but it is an issue for most people that it's uncomfortable. I talked about my journey from the original Switch and where I eventually landed on a solution to that problem, and also talked about the Satisfy grip for the Switch 2 a little bit. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a couple upcoming controllers that seem to fix that issue, but that I think are ultimately probably not worth it. You may have seen ads or seen people talking about these products. I'm going to start with the NYXI Hyperion 3 controller, the wireless joypad for Switch 2. Quote, the world's first third-party joypad for Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I have some concerns about this specifically. While they look great, they look like they're going to solve a lot of these issues, and they look like they are going to be basically the perfect product for this, I still have reservations. Pre-release review units have already been sent out to a lot of people. Now, if you look at the subscriber count and the view count on this video, I'm sure you can tell I didn't get any of that. I'm just a guy talking about it. So I have watched some of the pre-release reviews, and 128KB had issues with cardinal snapping on the joysticks, basically meaning that the joysticks prefer to be at the X or Y axis instead of very slightly off of it if you're, you know, moving the joystick around. That's an issue that most likely can be patched out with software. I'm not too awfully concerned about that. What I am concerned about is the price. Now, these are on sale right now for $126.99, and you can get discount codes to bring them down to about $100, but the full price is $170. $170 for this, I think, is too much for what they're offering. Now, here's what I will say. In my opinion, a lot of people get really worked up about price, which I definitely understand. Everything's fucking expensive and it's stupid, but I'm not as concerned about the price of things. If something is expensive, that just means it has to hit a higher standard. In that same way, I'm okay with something being a cheap product if it doesn't cost that much. That's what I talked about in my last video with these Binbach controllers that I used for my Switch 1 forever. These were like 30 bucks. They were really cheap, and you know what? It's a cheap product, but they've lasted this long, and it doesn't really matter that it's cheap plastic and that everything just feels cheap. It's got some rattle to it. The rumble sucks. The motion control sucks. Doesn't matter. It's 30 bucks. So if you're boasting a $170 price tag, I'm expecting $170 worth of product. It doesn't really bother me that it's $170 as long as they justify it. So let's go over how they justify this. Well, $170 gets you these joypads, which have Hall effect sticks. People make a big deal about Hall effect sticks, and I think that this is sort of the protein of the gaming genre. People love to say Hall effect. Take care of your shit, is what I say. There obviously are low quality standard joysticks out there that will drift basically no matter how well you take care of them. I had a set of Joy-Con 1s drift on me, but luckily I was able to fix it and never had an issue since. I haven't had that issue with any other Joy-Con 1s or any other controller, really. That's the only time I've ever had a controller drift on me, so it's not a huge deal to me personally whether or not the sticks are Hall effect, as long as they're high quality. Because you can have low quality Hall effect sticks and then they fucking suck. A micro switch D-pad and ABXY, again, don't know how much I care about that. Personally, I kind of prefer the membrane click rather than the actual switch click, just because they're loud and they're clicky, which I get it. That's fine sometimes. I don't have an issue with that. but these micro switches like what you got in mouse, and so I just prefer it to be less abrasive, I guess. Don't necessarily love that personally. I know a lot of people do, so not necessarily points off, because ultimately it's not a big deal to me if it's got micro switches or if it's got a membrane switch. It can wake up and screenshot. That is one of the things that is a must-have for me. It has to wake the switch up. If it can't wake the switch up, it's not worth it. That's what I think. And that's really all that it has to offer. That's all it boasts. And I just don't know if I think that this is going to be worth it. Hall effect sticks, if you really care about Hall effect sticks, it has that going. But ultimately, it really doesn't have that much to offer. No HD rumble. It does have 9-axis gyro, which is cool, but for $170, personally, what I expect for $170 is to have everything that the Joy-Con 2s have, and then some. Why would I buy these when I can just buy something else? I can buy a Satisfy grip like I've got over here. I can buy a competitor's product, which there aren't really any out that says world's first third-party joypad, but there will be more. There'll be a Binbach equivalent. Why would I spend $170 on these? Why would I? From the sounds of it, the plastic is kind of cheap. I'd really prefer if it's the soft touch plastic, like what they have on the Pro controller, the Pro 2 controller. I absolutely love the Pro 2 controller, and I just don't think this is there. I don't think it's worth it. I wouldn't buy one unless I was going to make a review for it, which that'll only happen if I somehow get a lot of subscribers or something, because that's too much money that I don't have to buy something like this when I know it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be exactly what I want, and it's really expensive for what it is. Luckily, there is another option coming out soon. That is the Mobapad M12 HD or M12 Pro. Now, Mobapad is saying that you should get the Mobapad M12 HD instead of the Pro. They're very similar. There are different specs for each though, so let's go over that. The M12 HD has TMR glide sticks, which is what the Pro 2 controller has, which those are so smooth, so nice. I really love the sticks, and that is a big deal to me. I don't really care that they're TMR, because TMR is like, you know, magnetic. It's not traditional. It's like a Hall effect variant, which I don't really care about that, but they're so smooth. That's what I like about those. So smooth and so nice. It's got mechanical buttons. Again, don't really care a lot. Exclusive button, M button, which is odd. I would assume that that's either... I assume maybe that's just another programmable button, or it's an embedded game chat macro. It could be where it like goes home and then selects game chat and pulls up the menu instead of a dedicated C button, because on the Mobapad M12 Pro, the exclusive button is the C button, which I assume is going to function exactly like the C button on the Joy-Cons. Both got a turbo function and macro programming available and the same trigger. But here's the interesting thing. The Mobapad M12 HD has HD rumble, and the M12 Pro has standard rumble. The HD has 6-axis motion control, and the Pro has 9-axis motion control. Everything else is the same. That's an odd split, and I know I've heard people speculating that basically they weren't able to get a lot of the stuff down perfect, like HD Rumble 2 and a lot of the Switch 2 exclusive stuff. So the stuff they could get down, they put in the Pros, and the stuff they couldn't, they sort of rolled back to the original Switch and put them in the new ones, or in the HDs. Now, it doesn't say whether or not these can wake the system, so that is, again, another big thing for me. Like I said earlier, it has to be able to wake this system. I assume the Pros can because of that C button built in and a couple other things. I would kind of be surprised if it didn't wake the switch on its own. And here down at the bottom, we do have clarification about the M button. The M button is a feature on the M12 HD. It supports turbo, button remapping, and macro programming. So it is not dedicated C button, and it is not a button that automatically pulls up the game chat through a built-in macro. I would assume, like I was saying, I assume the Pro does wake the system. It needs to for me to even consider it. Now, the Mobapad M12 HD goes for $89.99 and the M12 Pro goes for $99.99. Those are pretty heavy prices. That's as much as the Joy-Con 2s. So again, it's just not really swaying me enough. I don't think either of these options have mouse controls. You can't get rid of mouse controls if you want me to care. There just doesn't seem like enough reason. I would definitely go for the Mobapad over the NYXI Hyperion because the Hyperion is just so fucking egregiously expensive that there's no way that I would ever go for that when this is an option also. I mean, why would anyone pick up the Hyperion over this? Ultimately, the TMR glide sticks are fucking incredible. I would give those up for almost anything that the Hyperion 3 is offering, which is nothing. I just don't know, when it comes to premium options like these, they're leaving out features that the Joy-Con 2 has, and I don't know if that's really worth it. A lot of these features I don't use or care about that are in the Joy-Con 2, but if I'm going to be spending that much money, I need a little more. You know what I mean? At the very least, they should be able to do everything that the Pro 2 controller has, which the Mobapad 12 seems to have most of the stuff that the Pro controller has, depending on which one you can get. They both kind of leave a couple of things out. So, personally, like I said, unless I win the lottery, I'm holding off on both of these. I don't think that either of these are such a great deal that I'm going to get them and love them. I'd probably like them, and they'd probably make it so, so I stop using the Satisfy grip and I'd sort of phase that out. The problem is, I think there's going to be a better option down the road that is either cheaper or includes more features. If I got one of these and I liked them enough to leave them on, I wouldn't upgrade past that. Just like I never upgraded with the Binbot controllers. I was okay with that because they were cheap. They did what I needed. I would go and buy those again. But these, they don't seem worth it. Let me know what you think. Are you planning on picking either of these up? Hopefully you're not planning on picking up the NYXIs because, wow, those are expensive. I'm going to be on the lookout for a different option going down the road that I think we'll have a better option than these. If you like the video, let me know in the comments and drop a like. If you want to see me buy these, sorry. I don't know, probably not going to. If you didn't like the video, let me know why. And either way, if you made it this far into the video, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.